Thank you for joining us tonight. We're about 1 minute away from the start of the Family Advocates Bridge the Gap 2020 virtual fundraiser. We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, and we'd also like to thank you. Thank you for setting aside time to hear the story of what Family Advocates is all about. Tonight, we'll gather in homes around the valley and virtually anywhere in the world. Tonight, we stand together to bridge the gap, to strengthen families, and fight to end child abuse. Find a seat and get ready. The Family Advocates Bridge the Gap 2020 virtual fundraiser will start in a moment.
Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to have you attending Family Advocates' 8th annual Welcome Home event. I'm Michelle Edmonds from Idaho News 6, but tonight I'm not just an MC. I've been connected to Family Advocates for close to a decade as a former board member, community partner, and financial supporter. I know firsthand how Family Advocates' incredible team of staff and hundreds of volunteers work tirelessly each day, pandemic or not, to strengthen families and keep children safe in Idaho. We realize this event looks a bit different this year, and we so appreciate your willingness to partner with us, bridging the gap. Tonight is a celebration of Family Advocates' 40-plus years of providing services for local families and children. Through the years, our programs have evolved to meet the current needs of our growing and changing community and provide a voice for our most vulnerable population, children. As you can imagine, that calling has only intensified in the COVID-19 pandemic. The additional physical and emotional needs in our community are heightened right now. Add that to growing number of families who are stressed and need our services, and you begin to see a picture of how much we need you on our team in bridging the gap. By donating time and money to Family Advocates, I know I'm supporting programs to end the cycle of abuse and, even more importantly, preventing it. It's a lofty mission and one we could not accomplish without generous community support. So I'd like to take a moment and thank our partners in Bridging the Gap: 116 and West, AgriBeef, Blue Cross of Idaho, Citi, Forge Building, HP, Idaho Power, Intermountain Gas, Junior League of Boise, and Trout Jousters. We would also like to thank our Champions for Children, some of whom I know are joining us here tonight. These are 85 individual donors who have invested significantly in Family Advocates' mission with a 2-year pledge to support our work. I would also like to give a huge thanks to our tireless board members who steer the organization to success time and time again. Our virtual event hosts, without whom many of you would not be here today, our program volunteers who give generously of their time doing the really tough work, and our dedicated staff, whom we can't thank enough for everything they do in our community. During our program, you're going to get to hear firsthand the impact Family Advocates programs have on our local children and families. We hope that this program educates and inspires you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with us this evening. My name is Catherine Siebold, and I'm the Executive Director of Family Advocates. I started just in February of this year, and due to some unprecedented times, we've been working from home since March, as many of you have, and we've been figuring this out. We're joining each other virtually this evening, in trying to bring you a message that's really important, and we didn't want to miss the opportunity. So thank you for joining us tonight and learning a little bit more about family advocates, but more importantly, learning about why we do this work and why it's so important to us. If I had had the opportunity to meet you, which I would have had this been normal times, but I would have asked you why you're involved in Family Advocates. You know, why there's so many wonderful organizations in the Valley. Why did you choose Family Advocates? And I hope that you would have asked me why I chose Family Advocates. I probably could have told you that I've been involved with the CASA program for over 20 years, most of it in California, and that I have a passion for children. But you could read that in my bio. What's more important is that I want to tell you a story that impacted me in my life and really explain the why about why I chose Family Advocates and why I'm excited to be a part of what they do, and not only what they do for children, but what they do for families here in the Valley. So it all started with a little girl named Katya. She was growing up in an immigrant family. They did not speak much English, very broken English, as a matter of fact, when she first started going to school. She had two brothers, both considered half-brothers. Her mother was an abusive alcoholic on her fourth marriage. All three children were from different fathers. She was under a lot of stress as a single mother, and quite often took that stress out on the children at home. The only safe haven that Katya had was to go to school in order to escape the extremes that happened at home. School was her safe haven. Going home after school was something she never wanted to do. She would rather go to her grandmother's house or spend time at a friend's house or stay at school as long as possible doing homework before a teacher would say that she needed to go home. So she realized early on in life that she had to make a change. She had to find a life that would be different, that she wouldn't perpetuate the abuse that was going on in her life. Luckily, in her teens, another stepfather came along, but this time it was somebody who showed her true love and compassion, showed her that a child should be protected, but that a child could become anything you wanted, that you didn't have to be a victim of your circumstance. During those teenage years, she vowed that she would do work like this too, that she would help a child if she could. If she was in the position, she would go out and preach to children and let them know that they don't have to be a victim of their circumstance, that they could break the cycle of abuse that they saw in their family. You see, that little girl is me. And what is most important is that one person was able to transform my life. One person showed me that I could be somebody different. I didn't have to turn out to be a victim. I didn't have to turn out to be my mom. So I just want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the consideration of a donation. You may be asking yourself, well, what sort of impact can I make? What is that, small donation or that hour that I can give to them a month really how is that going to make a difference in the life of a child? Well, just know that my life was transformed because of just one person. That's all it takes, is just one. No matter how little time, all it is somebody who really cares and who pays attention to a child and has the heart that wants to give to a child. Thank you for letting me share my story tonight. I appreciate everything all of you have done for us and will continue to do in the future for Family Advocates. Without you, we cannot change the dynamic of abuse, but with you, we can transform the lives of the children in this valley.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Family Advocates Bridge the Gap 2020 virtual fundraiser. If you'd like to donate, the easiest way to give tonight is by text. Text FAWH 2020 to 44321. You'll receive a link to our donation page. There you can select an amount or enter any amount you'd like. And be sure to select if it's a one-time gift or a monthly donation. Hit continue and follow the steps to choose your payment method. Again, thank you for joining us tonight.
CASA is the court-appointed special advocate program. It is, at least in Idaho, made up by guardian ad litems who are citizen volunteers. They are appointed by the judge on a child protection case.
When a child comes into care of health and welfare, it's usually abuse or neglect, and sometimes it's because of the child's behavior. So very often they've got two sides to the situation, and they might not agree. Health and welfare might not agree with the parent, and the judge has to be a fair arbiter. So the reason that our role is to be the eyes and ears for the judge. So we talk with everybody involved, and when we do have court, we're able to tell him from an unbiased situation of what we see and what should be done and what can be done.
What people should know about child abuse in the Treasure Valley is that it doesn't look like what it does on television. Sometimes you go to court and you see families that you wouldn't have ever expected to find themselves in a child protection case. But it happens everywhere. It happens in every corner of Boise. It happens in every county that we serve, from Boise to Valley to Elmore counties. Child abuse just happens across the state, across the United States, and across the world.
Being a guardian really does open your eyes to the fact that there's a lot of kids out there and a lot of families that are struggling more than we'd ever realize that they're struggling. That's a big takeaway for me, that there's people out there that, boy, they can use the help, and it's pretty gratifying, especially when you see them reunited. Being a guardian, you can see it hopefully get better and get people back together again.
I think Eric's a wonderful guardian. How can you not love a volunteer that has been with us for going on 12 years?
A friend of mine his wife is a principal of a grade school, and they have a program where you go visit kids that maybe needed a little help. They'd pick out these kids that might be a little troubled and just go have lunch with them, be sort of a role model, get to know them, and be a friend of theirs. So I was teamed up with a boy that was in the foster care system. I noticed that he'd gone through 3 different caseworkers at Health and Welfare. So I asked, how can I get more involved? And the idea came up about being a guardian ad litem, because then you have the legal right to talk to the teachers, talk to the caseworkers, talk to everybody involved, and be his advocate. So a way to support him. That's where I got started, and probably done 8 or 10 cases since then.
Actually, pretty recently, he came into my office to tell me a little bit about the case that he's been on for the longest. And the child chose his new name when that will go through with the adoption, and he selected Eric as his middle name. And Eric was so excited to tell me about this, in a very humble way, of course, and how they were going to celebrate by going out to a basketball game with the new foster family. Well, actually, his new family.
Yeah, he got a new first name and took the foster parents' last name, and got to say that he took Eric for his middle name. Now, I don't know. That's pretty cool. I got to say, it's pretty cool.
Your life will be changed forever if you become a CASA volunteer. We don't always know the impact that guardians make on their cases, but for some, it's the first time an adult has actually showed up consistently in a child's life. Most of our guardians come to us for reasons that we don't always know, but I think the common thread is that just a genuine desire to be present, to be a positive role model in a child's life, and to affect some sort of change.
Hello, I'm Nick Garcia. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at Family Advocates, and today I have I'm fortunate enough to be interviewing Terry Scraggins. He is one of our board members. He's been on the board at Family Advocates for almost 2 years now, and we love Terry. We love being around Terry. Terry brings a lot to this organization, and today we're just going to ask him a couple of questions about his involvement with Family Advocates. Tell me just a little bit about your life, your early days, and I guess how you ended up where you are now.
I entered foster care right before my 13th birthday, ultimately ended up aging out at 18. And then I did school for a little bit. After that, I kind of took a break and joined the Navy. Got out of the Navy in about 2016 and went back to school to finish my bachelor's in social work, and now I'm a safety assessor in child welfare.
Wow. Okay, that's quite the journey. At Family Advocates, you understand, we have our CASA program, which is speaking on behalf of foster kids in court. Did you have a CASA when you were in foster care?
When I first entered care, so it was right before I turned 13, I did have one for a very brief moment, maybe 6 months tops. But the majority of my time in care, I did not have a guardian ad litem or a CASA.
If you did have a guardian, what difference do you feel it would have made, this person could have made for you? You said briefly, if perhaps they had been with you a little longer.
I feel like if I had had like maybe a guardian ad litem with me throughout my teenage years and aging out, I think that I maybe would have felt a little bit more better represented. I've always been pretty outspoken and pretty well-spoken individual just in general. But to kind of have an additional advocate or someone to look out for me or maybe see all sides of the coin, I think that it probably would have made a difference. I definitely think it would have made a difference, actually.
As you know, Family Advocates, we have these two programs. We have our CASA program, which you just spoke so eloquently about, and then we have our preventative program, which is our family strengthening program. If family strengthening were something that existed at the time your family was going through its struggles, what difference could it have made, do you feel? What could it have done?
Ultimately, I think that if programs such as these were in place when I was in care, that it could have been a preventative measure for me coming into care altogether. That's a pretty bold statement, but I feel like you don't know what you don't know as a family or as a person or as a parent. And if there had been more programs or more things like the family strengthening program that Family Advocates has now, that it would have helped me, and it could have helped my family and could have taught my family the tools that they maybe needed to be successful to ultimately eliminate the need for me to come into care. I think additionally, it could have been something that my family could have looked forward to or been a part of even after I entered care, to kind of set them up with the tools that they need for reunification.
You are a social worker now. You work as you said, a child welfare safety assessor. And what do you hope to do for children and families in your new role?
To help families feel empowered, that every family is so different from one another. And I think that it's important to embrace that when working with families and help ensure that kids are safe, and if they aren't safe, how or what do they need in order to be safe, so that they don't have to feel unsafe or feel like they're in a position that could compromise their safety.
So we have two programs. We have our CASA program, which is our reactive solution. We have our preventative solution, which is family strengthening. Do you see family strengthening working?
I absolutely see it working. I think that the biggest reason that I see it working is because families and parents don't know what they don't know. And I think that it is impossible to break the cycles of poverty and break the cycles of abuse if at some point we are interrupting it. Like, parents and families, they don't know what they aren't taught. So if you're taught something set for an example could be like abuse or things of that nature. If you're taught that that's the right way, how do you know any different? Unless there's something like family strengthening or a program like family strengthening that comes in and helps educate and teach to at least instill that knowledge that they wouldn't otherwise have.
So knowing what you know now, in the profession that you're part of, what if you could talk to your 13-year-old Terry, 13-year-old self, what would you say to him?
You guys are really putting me on the spot. If I could talk to 13-year-old Terry, I would tell them to trust the process, but don't be afraid to speak up and speak your mind. And I would tell my younger self that it's all going to work out. You just have to believe in yourself and believe in what you want out of life.
So what is it about the Family Advocates mission that resonates with you?
I think what resonates with me the most about our mission is family strengthening and empowering families, but also empowering the volunteers that help the families and the volunteers that put in countless hours helping these families and youth that are in need. Because I think without volunteers and without resources, none of this would be possible. And I think that it's extremely important to have volunteers and people who care in the community to be able to empower and uplift those in the community that maybe are struggling or are in times of need.
Yeah, we always say we can't do what we do without you. You know, the people who help us out. We literally wouldn't be able to do the work without the volunteers, the people who help us financially, help us with their physical presence, all of it. Yeah, Family Advocates would just cease to exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think that anyone in the world can dream as big as they want, but it comes down to execution. And execution couldn't exist if we didn't have donors and volunteers and people that are willing to put up their own personal resources and passion to help the community.
Great. Well, thank you, Terry. Thank you for your time today, and it was really nice chatting with you and hearing your opinions and your thoughts about these things.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Your gift this evening matters, and we thank you for joining us. If you're considering a donation, there are multiple ways to give. You can text FAWH 2020 to 44321. You can also fill out our online form. Just visit our website at familyadvocates.org. If you'd prefer to send a check, you can find our address on our website as well. There are also other ways to donate, including stock sharing, employer matching, and beneficiary donations. You can send an email to info@familyadvocates.org, and we'd be happy to get you more information. Again, thank you for joining us for the Family Advocates Bridge the Gap 2020 virtual fundraiser.
Family strengthening is the preventative side of Family Advocates. And what we do is we offer a parenting support group for families of any range. It doesn't matter. We welcome all families. And what we do is we teach about the 5 protective factors that are said to help mitigate ACEs, adverse childhood experiences.
I'm a single mother with 3 children, and so I was going through a lot of changes with my ex recently being released from prison. So I was kind of looking for that assistance in family strengthening to try to help me ground myself and figure out where to go.
When Angel first came along, you could tell she's very bright, she's funny, and she was outgoing, and she had 3 kids, and they were great kids, and she was doing really well, and you could tell that she really loved her children. She was just kind of trying to figure out what the best path for them was. You could tell she was in the middle of trying to break that cycle of abuse that she had been in.
The first class that I got to take where I was not in the middle of a giant mess was the initial just learning about different parenting styles. And so it was very encouraging to hear that I'm making good choices, because I've always been very apprehensive about not being clear in what I'm doing. So I would say that class was very empowering for me. I have such a bad background that having something tell you you're not wrong is great. So it was a really good moment.
One of the 5 protective factors is resilience, and part of building resilience is self-esteem, right? Having self-esteem and believing in yourself that you can accomplish things. And a lot of the families that come in, they just really don't have that.
What I took away from it really was being empowered by my own independence without feeling uncomfortable for reaching out for help. So I had a grounded community support available. And I was also empowered to know that some of the decisions I'd already been making were good decisions. So it wasn't trying to just teach me, these are all the things you're doing wrong. It was, hey, if this is something you're doing, then that's beneficial to you. And we're here to work on all different aspects, but you're doing good. So it was very nice. It was a very nice thing to feel that way.
We're preventing child abuse, right? Because the more people know, and more people know about parenting and child development and knowing where to go for help, the less likely they are to abuse their children.
It doesn't really matter why you're struggling. It's there to make you feel better about being a parent and working through these things, and feel comfortable to be able to admit that you might have other things you need to work through, and they can give you all the resources to those other things.
Good evening. My name is Kat Jones, and I'm the board president of Family Advocates. When my husband and I relocated to Boise in 2015, I knew that I wanted to get involved with an organization that helped kids. I was introduced to Family Advocates our first year in Boise. When I learned about the CASA side of the organization, I was immediately drawn in. But it wasn't until I learned about the Family Strengthening Program that I knew Family Advocates was special and I wanted to help. Being a parent is hard under the best of circumstances. I am blessed to have been raised in a loving, caring, and supportive home. So when I became a parent, I had built-in tools at the ready. But you can't teach what you don't know, and you cannot model what you have never seen. Family Strengthening provides a safe and supportive environment for parents who are looking for the tools they need to be a good parent. I'm in awe of these families. It takes a brave person to ask for help. It takes a brave person to admit that they have been hurt and that they want to break the cycle. This is why I'm involved with Family Advocates. Child abuse and neglect will never end unless we break the cycle with programs like what we offer at Family Advocates. Without Family Strengthening Program, we have single mothers like young Katya's struggling to navigate the demands of her stressful everyday life of work and family. Without our CASA program, we have kids like 13-year-old Terry in need of a friend representing his best interests in court. But as you can see, when we do have these programs available, we have family strengthening participants like Angel who found comfort and stability, and most importantly, hope for a better future for herself and her children. We have wonderful CASAs like Eric, who so inspired and helped the child he represented. The child went on to pick Eric as his middle name when adopted. But without you, much of this would not be possible. And so, it is my privilege to ask you to make an investment to help more families and more children, to support not only our day-to-day operations, but to help us expand our programs. Help us ensure that no child in our area goes without a CASA, and that struggling parents have access to our Family Strengthening Program, so that they know they are not alone and that help is available. This is not just an investment in Family Advocates. It's an investment in the future for vulnerable children and families in our community. Today, we want to grow Family Advocates Champions for Children to build a stable future for family advocates. Champions for Children is a group of donors who make a 2-year pledge of at least $1,000 paid annually. This annual gift can be paid monthly, quarterly, annually, however you choose. If you have been inspired by what you have seen this evening, or if you've been saddened by what you have seen, know that you can make a difference. Today, right now, I am asking you to join me and other champions for children to make an impact in the lives of local children. Children that live in your neighborhood, go to school with your children, your grandchildren, and are the next generation in our community. A $1,000 annual gift paid monthly equates to just $84 a month. Think about what you spend $84 on each month. I'm asking you to donate your valuable treasure to our society's most precious treasure, our children. Children who did not ask to be abused, who did not ask to be a statistic. Those in a position to make an even bigger impact, please consider Champions for Children at the $5,000 per year or $10,000 per year level. Friends, government services can only do so much, and that is where you and I and family advocates step in to fill the gaps. The easiest way to donate is by text. Just text FAWH 2020 to 44321. You'll receive a link on your phone. Click that link and it will take you to our donation page. Select a donation amount or you can type in any amount you choose. Make sure that you select whether you are making a monthly donation or a one-time donation. From there, just hit continue and enter your payment method. Of course, you can always send a check if you'd prefer. Visit familyadvocates.org for our address, as well as information on additional ways to donate. Michelle, thank you so much for coming up here with me again.
Oh my gosh, Kat, this is exciting because we are live with everybody out there in virtual land. Yay. We know this is a little strange and a little different, but this is needed. Your donations, your time, your involvement in Family Advocates, it's needed more than ever. And being board president, you know that. You see it. You see the financials. You see the need during this pandemic.
And I'm sure, as all of you could imagine, the need for what we do has skyrocketed in this time. One of the most important things about having children in school is having eyes on children. Yes. Right now, we don't have eyes on children. So what we do, the kids that are coming into care, these cases are heartbreaking. And but the more that we are able to help them, the more that we are able to give them an access to a CASA, the more that we are still able to reach out and touch those families, it's going to help to break that cycle. And we're going to be able to connect, and we're going to be able to help these kids.
One of the reasons I have been involved in Family Advocates for as long as I have, almost a decade now, and Kat and I served on the board together, is because doing the nightly news, Kat, it was heartbreaking to me when we would report on stories of child abuse. There's nothing more devastating. And as you well know, there have been cases in our community just recently where it's not just abuse, it's flat out death, murder of children. And we have to have hope. We have to have hope in the middle of a pandemic. Yep. We have to give these families hope. And so that's what Family Advocate does. Family Advocates gives the hope to make sure that no other child ever faces that same fate again. And everybody has the chance to help us give the hope tonight.
Yes. Every little bit counts. I know, again, as I reiterated, I was talking a lot about our Champions for Children, and I will never ask for less than the most you can possibly give, but anything that you can do is greatly appreciated. And beyond even just the dollars that you can do, your volunteer hours. And I know that so many of you are stretched. You are working from home. You're teaching your children from home. Maybe the best thing that you can do for us is to send the link to this event right here to your friends and to your family and just say, hey, please take a look at this and consider donating or anything that you can do. Your volunteer hours, First of all, getting the message out about Family Advocates and what we offer, it also helps to provide hope to those families.
Yes.
I think one of the things that we often look at these parents who come into care and we say, what's wrong with these people? What happened to these people? And the way that Family Advocates works is we look at these parents and we want to take away that shame. And that's what Family Strengthening does. We want to create a safe space to say, what happened to you? What happened in your background? What gaps do you have that means that you need help here in parenting your children? And to me, that hope is what keeps me going.
Without a doubt. We've got a big goal tonight, don't we?
Yes.
So we've got a big ask
Yes.
for you, which is that you can text to donate right now. You can also go to the Family Advocates website and donate directly there to become a champion for children, which I just even love that phraseology. But the big goal tonight is to reach what, Kat?
$80,000.
We can do that.
Oh, I mean, nothing. Nothing.
If you don't know this lady, she really likes asking for money.
I do.
So it's not a problem for her. So she'll continue to ask until you give. So you might as well just grab your phone right now.
Let's just do it. Get it done. Get it over with.
Well, and we also have some pretty unique people out there who have kind of made sure that we're stirring the pot a little bit because guess what? Tonight, you have the chance to double your donation. Sorry, I felt like we need flashing lights for that or something kind of fun.
Like maybe some confetti or something coming down.
But any money you are giving this evening, we have got people who want to double it for you. So I think we've got that first match coming in.
Yes.
Should we take a look at where we stand right now as you've been watching our virtual program tonight? To take a look at the money that is coming in already. Ooh. Look at that. We're already up to $6,000, Kat.
Thank you. Well, that means we've already hit our first match.
Oh, well, that's exciting. And we should say thank you to Chase Jones and Gerald Klum and Sheila Hennessy and Donna Barr.
That's my mom.
Katie.
Hi, Mom.
That's your mama?
Hi, Mom, and that's my brother-in-law. Hey, Chase.
That's fun. Hi, Katie
you.
Reynolds. We appreciate you. Look at the money. Oh, my gosh. This is what we love. Is now we're up to $8,000. So let's talk about those matches that are coming in because, like Katie, you just gave $200. Guess what? We're going to double it. Boom, $400 because we've got some really generous people.
Yes, we do. In fact, currently my husband was not able to be on the ground for this event, so he's in the air. So I'm sure that he would be more than willing to do a match donation tonight. So we will match the next $3,000 that comes in. We will match it.
Kat, that's incredible.
Yes.
I'm so glad that your husband's flying and you can just write the check tonight without making a phone call.
Easy peasy, not a problem.
And we also need to say a huge thank you to Magellan Health. They are matching $2,000 tonight as well. So our match is now up to $5,000. Our next matching point will come in another $5,000 when HP comes on board. So again, the sooner you text to give tonight, the sooner you double your donation. And we're on a good roll right now.
Yeah, I like it. I would love to see us hit those double digits. Let's get into that $10,000
really
level.
fast in the next couple of minutes here.
Yes.
So touch on this with me, Kat. Volunteers, and you saw people in our piece as we were showing you during the virtual event there. Volunteers can range from anybody who's working on the family strengthening side and helping those families, all the way to Guardians Ad Litem, working on the CASA side, making sure they're protecting children in the foster care system. How important are volunteers to the organization?
They're absolutely critical. We would not be able to do this without the volunteers. I think I know there's a misconception out there of what happens when a child comes into care. I think that we think, oh, Child Protective Services has stepped in, they're in a foster home, they're going to be fine. The truth of the matter is, that's not true. We have been told and we're tasked with taking care of these kids, but we're not given the money to do so. And if we weren't there to step in and be the guardian and be the CASA for these kids, they essentially are floating out there alone. It's like what Terry was saying. He aged out of the system, never having a guardian, never having somebody there that was specifically talking for him. As we all know, often in child protective cases, children, no matter what's happening in their situation, they want to stay with their parents. Unfortunately, that's not always the best situation. And the guardian is the one that is going to be talking with the parents, talking with the schools, talking with the doctors, talking with the attorneys. They're the ones that are going to give the best recommendation because they are going to know. The children often are just not capable, based on whatever it is that's happened to them, to be able to advocate for themselves. So we've
Or
made
they're
these
little.
people. Or they're
just
little.
little.
They're little.
They can't advocate for themselves.
In the first 2 weeks of COVID, we had, I believe, 6 newborns come into care under our with Family Advocates. So keep that in mind. It's easy to just let them stay with the parents. It seems like an easy thing, but the guardians are the ones that are the superheroes in these kids' lives. They are literally the ones standing between them and often disaster. And these people do it for free. We are asked by the government to do this, but we're not given money to do it. That's why we're here. And guardians do this for free. We need attorneys. They do this for free.
Pro bono attorneys, 101 pro bono attorneys
Yes.
working on cases. And that's pro bono attorneys right here in the Treasure Valley. Think about what they're dealing with in their practices.
Yep.
And this is volunteer work for them. And sure, you might be sitting at home and thinking, oh, well, they've got all the same issues we all have during COVID, and yet they're still giving of their time and their talents here as well.
Absolutely.
And we need more, by the way.
Always need more.
Always need more volunteers.
And I think they donated somewhere just under 3,500 hours, service hours this past year. And that's what they tell us about. One of the things that we often find with our guardians ad litem and our pro bono attorneys, often it's hard for us to sort of needle out of them to give us their exact hours that they donate, because they do it because they have a passion to do it. And often it's oh no, it's a no big deal, it's nothing. It's huge. It changes the lives of these children, and it changes the lives of these families. We can never discount the amount of time that our family strengthening volunteers spend with our families. Our family strengthening program is a 8-week program, and we meet 2 days a week. And it's split between the parents and then the children for the first hour, and then they come together in the second hour to work on whatever it is they were working on. And one of the things that I really love about the Family Strengthening Program is I find that I always try to look at the curriculum, so see what I can learn.
Sure.
I always can learn something from this.
Of course.
And one of these things is talking about the bubble. And talking about the kid is that you are the center of the bubble, and you get to decide who comes into your bubble. I think this is such an important lesson that we forget about as adults, regardless of whatever our background is, that it's important to know who is allowed within your bubble. And so I found that I've been learning a lot of things that I then turn around and apply to with my kiddo.
Okay, so there may be a tug at your heart right now if you're watching this and thinking, gosh, that's a unique piece of curriculum. I think I would learn something from that. Come be a volunteer with us. Come teach the curriculum, learn for yourself, meet these families who are so passionate about doing things right for their children, for not doing things the way they were shown. Maybe that was an abusive situation or just absent parents. We are building up in this valley families that are going to raise better children, and guess what that does for all of us? It raises us all up as a community, and that's why Family Advocates is here.
Absolutely.
Should we check the numbers?
Yes.
Should we see the donations coming in? Oh
yes.
my goodness, Kat, you did it.
Okay.
I'm sure Robert's going to be thrilled that you threw in all that extra cash. So, hi, Lori Hickman. Thank you for your $60 donation. Yay. Kenneth Kessner, $205. I love it. Yay, oh, and the money keeps coming in. I love it. Margaret Thompson, we see you. Kevin Darrow, a $200 donation 2 minutes ago. And Owen Loftus, a $40 donation.
Thank you.
Seriously, every little bit counts.
Yes.
And we know many of you are stretched right now, and this virtual event is a difficult time to pick up that phone and just say, can I do it? And the answer is, we hope so.
Yes.
We hope you can join us. Like, oh, Catherine just joined with a $20 donation.
Thank you, Catherine.
It was so interesting to me to hear during our piece, Kat, how one person can make a difference.
Yes.
And you had the ability on the board just right before COVID really hit us, to hire a new executive director for Family Advocates. And as we heard in her story, in case you missed it, you've got to go back and watch it. But Catherine really brings a heart to the mission, and you can understand why after hearing about the abuse that she went through in her own life. But her word for Family Advocates, which I so appreciate, is hope. So can you expand on that as people continue to pour in with their donations? Thanks, Brenda. We love you. It's one of those things that you have to have hope, not only during a pandemic, but you've got to have hope that these kids are going to become much better adults because of what Family Advocates does.
I think too often we get lost in the day-to-day sadness of what it is that we're going through, and
Some of it's really sad.
It's really sad, and we forget that there is hope. There is hope out there, and there are so many good people, kind people that are doing the work and that want to do the work, and they want to be here to help children and families. And I find it hopeful. I find hope in every time I hear about a new graduating class from our family strengthening program. HP, yay, HP, thank you so much. We have hit it. We are now able to throw that $5,000 match on from HP. So
Fantastic.
Sorry,
Sorry, pause.
You. Sorry, I just got really excited. I wanted to throw that in there.
And real quickly, I'm going to get you back to that, but we've got another $5,000 match coming up. So again, we can double your donation right now. Quinn and Darcy Holworth are going to be doubling your donation, so see if we can't keep it rolling right now.
Yes.
But go back to hope, and
Yes.
every time you see a strengthening families class graduate, which they do these 8-week curriculums, it's all laid out, and then they graduate. Those parents are so thrilled.
They're so thrilled, and I think one of the things that we forget about is how important a community is. And one of the biggest problems and one of the reasons we see abuse and neglect is isolation. Whether you're isolated physically or you're isolated mentally. And one of the most important things that we provide is a community of parents that they get to talk to each other and not feel shame because they're all going through the same thing. We're all going through the same thing as far as parents are. It's hard to be a parent. It's really hard to be a parent. And there's a fine line between, there's often a fine line between abuse and neglect and being a good parent. And I think that one of the most important things is to understand that and to not look down on the people who need that extra help. And this is our community. I want a place where parents and families feel safe. And
even during the COVID pandemic, Family Advocates has had the ability to continue with Zoom classes, and volunteers have literally been driving materials to families' houses. Like they've driven enough miles to get you to, like, I forget where it was,
the moon,
New Mexico or Texas or something crazy. So it's just been amazing what's been happening. Okay, more donations are pouring in. Oh my goodness, we are up past $20,000. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Once again, we are looking for an $80,000 goal. John Nordstrom coming in hot.
Thank you.
Wow. And Scott Summerlin, a $1,000 donation there. David Miller, thanks so much.
That's my dad.
Well, Mom and Dad are coming in, and you're just giving away Robert's money. The whole family is a part of Family Advocates Bridging the Gap tonight. And let's see, who else is coming in? Oh, hi, Margie, $103. But don't worry, Darcy and Quinn Holworth are going to double that for you. And Cassandra Wagner bringing in a donation as well. This is so fun to see these names pop up. We miss not seeing all of you in person. Over the last couple of years, you know that we've held our Welcome Home events with a lovely luncheon. Hopefully you're eating snacks as you're watching this.
In your pajamas.
Yeah.
That's what I would be doing.
Which is really fun as well. Let's talk a little bit about CASA, because some people get confused, Kat, when they hear CASA, C-A-S-A, and Guardian Ad Litem, a GAL, a G-A-L. CASA is a national program that Family Advocates helps to run. GAL, the Guardian Ad Litems, are the amazing volunteers that, like Eric, you heard in the piece, who give of their time to help the students, children individually. These Guardian Ad Litems, we need a lot of them just for the Treasure Valley, right?
Yes. The reason why our goal is to help all children here in the Treasure Valley. The only way that we're able to do that is by getting more Guardians Ad Litem. The only way that we can get more Guardians Ad Litem is by hiring more staff. I think there's a little bit of a confusion. We have to have people on staff to oversee those guardians. And by law, our staff members can only oversee a certain amount of guardians. So you kind of see where I'm going here with this. It just sort of becomes a big snowball. We can't grow unless we hire more. We can't hire more unless we raise more. So that's sort of where we're going at. And I don't know if people have heard, but Boise is kind of a hopping place.
We're kind of growing.
Yes, we're growing a lot. I moved here 5 years ago, and Yeah, I'd hardly recognize it now, and I can't imagine what it is for the people who are lifelong Idahoans. So we know that the need for what we do is only going to grow, so we need to grow. And we're excited about the future. We have hope for the future. We have plans for the future to be able to support all of these kids and to support all of these families. But we can't do it unless we raise some more money and raise some money that will sustain us for years on end. So again, a little plug for that Champions for Children. It's just a 2-year commitment. 2 years.
It's $84 a month if you want to break it down, which, I mean, think about the amount of coffee you drink. I mean, if we want to like get real with it, or $84 that we spend on a handbag, ladies, or shoes.
Well, and we're not really going out to eat anymore, so.
Oh, hey, there's a way. Right, the budget that's saved there.
Yeah.
And again, there is no money coming from the state to pay for the staff members who are overseeing the guardian ad litems, and the guardian ad litems are volunteers. So you see the vicious cycle we're in as more kids come into the foster care system. What happens if there's no guardian ad litem for them? That breaks my heart.
They fall through the cracks. They are the kids that people say, ugh, what? Ugh, those troublemakers. Those troublemakers. Well, those troublemakers, they aren't troublemakers. They're just kids that need help, and they're just kids that need somebody in their life to give them hope and to believe in them.
Which, by the way, if you want to become a gal, a guardian ad litem, Family Advocates provides all the training for that. It's an intensive training session, but you need that so that you're prepared to not only work with the families, work with the children, but to know what to do with the court system. And if all that sounds scary, and I understand, it's not for everyone, because some of this stuff can be really difficult, but if you're getting tugged at your heart again right now, Family Advocates is there to provide everything you need, and that's why we have the staff there. They put you through counseling if you need to have counseling. They make sure you're trained in the court system. And by the way, you have that pro bono attorney who's going to deal with all the court stuff. So it's not like you have to be trained in all of that. So I just want to put a plug in that there may be some people, guardian ad litems, who are out there right now who need to join us. Okay, how's our money looking?
All right. Oh, it looks like we've made it to 26,000. Yay!
Fantastic. And
63 donors. That's amazing.
With that $26,000, everybody who is donating right now, let's see if the number continues to go up to 30. Woo! Darcy and Quinn Holworth, thank you so much for your $5,000 donation.
Ronnie Rice, that's my uncle.
I'm serious.
Family affair.
It is a family affair for Kat. Hi, Jed Nordquist. Thanks for your $100 donation. Travis Benningfield coming in at $41. I love that number, Travis. I know. That's kind of unique. And Rhonda Barker, you're pulling in at over $500. J.R. Edwards, thanks for joining us this evening at $103. Again, we are trying to reach $80,000. That is our goal in the next little bit. But the fun part about this evening, Kat, is that it doesn't, virtual means that it can go virtual forever. I mean, like, we could go virtual viral if we wanted to. And you could pass this link on and people can continue to give. Just because we'll wrap up tonight doesn't mean that you can still continue to give to Family Advocates.
Absolutely. And it's like I said, one of the most important things that we also need is just to get our name out there so people know that we are here. We're here to help kids, and we're here to help families. So we will also be providing a link to this, so you can watch me again.
Robert's going to watch you and realize that you gave away a lot of his money.
I do fear he might be watching in the air, so
there you go.
We'll see. And just continue to advertise for us. That is a huge help. It is a huge help to us. Everybody can do something.
Yes.
Everybody can do something. And I know in these times sometimes we can feel small because the problem seems so big. And I think that was something that always plagued me pretty much through my career as I was bouncing around the country. And I promised myself that when I settled down somewhere, I was going to get involved because I wanted to help kids. And being able to hear about all the terrible things in the world, but then being able to focus in on what I can do here at home, here where I live, it brings a sense of calm and it makes me feel empowered. There's something everybody can do, there's something everybody can give, whether it's just telling people about us, whether it's giving us money, whether it is volunteering your time. Everybody can do something to help kids. And for all those people tuning in from other places around the country, again, CASA is a nationwide organization. Every state Every location has CASA guardians. So please, if this is something that's tugging at your heart, please look into your local, to find your local CASA organization and get involved. It doesn't take nearly as much time as I think people think that it will, to either do something in regards to family strengthening or to do something in regards to being a guardian ad litem.
And in my decade working with family advocates, not once, not ever have I had somebody tell me the experience for themselves as a volunteer, as a donor, was not tremendously beneficial to themselves.
Yes.
So it just, not only does it make you feel good, you know that you're doing something greater than yourself, which in this time when we all are looking for ways to make our planet kinder, this is one of the ways you can definitely do it. I think we've got another match, though. So we'd like to continue to double your donation for you. So if you are donating right now, we have the ability to double your match. All you have to do is text again to FA, that's Family Advocates, WH, we're calling this Welcome Home 2020. FAWH 2020. You're going to text that to the number 44321. 44321. You'll get a link that'll be sent to you, and you can just tap on it right from there. We've made this super easy for you. Obviously, Stacy P. found us with a $150 donation, so thank you so much for that. We are now up to $31,000. And again, if we can get another $5,000 in, we can double the donation and double your match.
Yes,
with that.
Absolutely.
So I was told that in fact, the drivers from the family strengthening side who have been taking packages to families during the COVID have driven enough miles to get to Waco, Texas.
Ooh, well, I don't know
Yes.
if you know this. That's actually fantastic because that's where Dr. Pepper is headquartered. So
Maybe they
that's
picked
actually
up
pretty,
some there
and then
brought it back
yeah.
for.
Well, you know, oh,
things
Boise to
Kat
Waco. I love
Jones
it.
knows.
Well, you know, lots of useless information. Lots of useless information.
As you sit there during your board meetings, Kat, one of the things that always struck me being a board member is that sometimes we would hear the stories that were so hopeful, and sometimes we would hear the stories that were so devastating.
Yes.
But sitting around that board member table, you always knew that you were working towards something good.
Yes.
Explain to me a little bit about the board, and not necessarily the workings of the board, but why everybody has chosen to be there.
Yep.
Because everybody's a volunteer.
Yes.
Again, on the
Yes.
board level as well.
That's another thing that is that I'm really enjoying. I've always enjoyed about being a part of Family Advocates. Our board is made up of people that span socioeconomic. They live all over Boise and different places around Boise. They all have different jobs. You have folks that work in the energy industry. You have people that work what I do, people that work with children on a day-to-day basis. You have lawyers, you have broadcasters. So we have all types of different people that are involved at our board, and they all do it for different reasons. Some of them have the personal reasons where CASA or the court system has touched their life in some way, and others, like myself, just want to do something to help kids, and we want to take that time to do that because it's the right thing to do, and we care about our community, and we care about our parents, and we care about our families, and we want to make our community a better place. So that's kind of it. It's a good time. We have a good time. We laugh a lot. It does, and to say that we don't hear hard things and we don't get depressed and downtrodden about certain things, it'd be a lie. It is hard. It's incredibly hard. But one of the things that I am so hopeful about and that I get really excited about is we do have a lot of community partners that come in and educate us on what's going on in mental health, what's going on with the way that one of the things you hear thrown around a lot is called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experience. There's so much that we don't know about the brain, but there's so much that we do know and that we are learning. And so we're learning that these things that have happened to children, to people who are adults now, that happened to them as they were children, are going to have lifelong effects on them. It has effects on their health. It has effects on the way that they are able to engage in relationships. And I think some people can look at that Uh-oh.
Things are flying at us.
Well,
They're so excited.
You know,
Yes.
it's exciting times. Sometimes people can look at those things and think, oh, that's so depressing. I look at it and I find it incredibly hopeful because it makes me feel like it's the last frontier. We are finding our way to understand what is going on in the minds of people who undergo abuse and how can we change the trajectory? How can we change what's happened to them and make it turn into a positive and help to build their resiliency? So I'm inspired and I get excited. I often leave these meetings excited about what more can we do? What more can I do? What more can I go home and tell Robert that we're going to do? So,
You want to throw out another match? No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We've got another match for you. So if we can get to $35,000, we've got another match of a $5,000 gift coming in right now. So again, let's take it to the thermometer and see where we are right now as we let the thermometer go. If we can get to $35,000, we've got another $5,000 match coming in. Martin is coming in. Yeah, with a $500 pledge. Appreciate that. And James Ray Olson coming in at $100. We're at $32,000. Somebody's out there ready to pull the trigger. We'd like to see this get up to $35,000 so we can add another $5,000 to the total. We'll continue to wait and see who else is joining us via text. This is kind of fun because it's like real-time, you know.
Real-time anxiety. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
It's a little
sweating
hot.
a little. Yeah.
Whatever it takes for the kids, Kat.
Oh, boy, the kids. Let me tell you. I love them.
Well, we do appreciate you being with us for this Bridging the Gap live virtual event. It's been fun for me to sit back and hear the stories being told of the people who are involved in Family Advocates. And as you said, the range is so wide. And you, in fact, might be seeing this and think, gosh, I know a family who could benefit from family strengthening.
Yep.
Without a doubt, get in touch with Family Advocates. We can reach out to that family and get them involved in our program. You know, the programs are growing, and as the programs grow, we need the money to continue to come in so that we can support the programs. We call it a vicious cycle, but it's actually a really exciting cycle because we want to grow. We want to make sure we can keep up with the community demand, which, as you said, during the COVID pandemic, has only exploded.
Yes, yes. The need is great and will continue to be great. Again, being a parent is hard. It's incredibly hard, and we think we forget about how lucky we are, some of us, to be in our bubbles, to have our community. And when you take that away, when you take away some people's ability to reach out, it causes issues. People fall back into bad habits. Often when children come into care and infancy, it will be a drug issue. And again, as we know, people who are addicted to alcohol and addicted to drugs, it's a disease and it's a crutch, and it's something that people often fall back on when they get in times of stress. So family strengthening, we find ways to get in touch with these families. We find ways to call them on the phone. We find ways to meet them in the park. We find ways to ring their bell and drop off some diapers that they need and a meal that they need. So I can't underscore enough how important it is to have organizations like Family Advocates, not just on the CASA side, but also on the family strengthening side, to make sure that parents know that they're not alone and they don't fall into that dark pit of isolation that makes them fall into bad habits.
Which, I mean, as you and I have talked about, it's hard enough, right, all of you, during this time to make sure that your own kids are doing okay. Just put yourself in somebody else's shoes, a single parent, a parent who's just lost a job, a family that was already struggling and then hit this pandemic. As you can imagine, those are the families we serve. And without your generous donations, without the volunteer hours to drive and check up on families and jump on Zoom calls and check in and give counseling sessions via Zoom and making sure those families are connected with one another to make sure they have community, without all of that happening, it's not looking good. So we have made sure at Family Advocates that those platforms are available even during this pandemic. And that's what's so exciting is the staff, they work tirelessly to make sure all of this comes off because they don't want to see any child fall through the cracks.
I I am on the board at Family Advocates. Initially, I wanted to be a guardian. I was going to be a CASA. I was going to do it. I was going to do the training. I had signed up for that training. And then my husband sat me down and explained to me that I was not able to do the training. I am not in a place where I would be able to go and see what's happening with these kids and then be able to continue on my day-to-day life. It's not necessarily how I'm wired, but I found a way to help. This staff, the things that they see and the things that they do, and yet they continue to smile and they continue to show up every day and they continue to be hopeful. They're so hopeful and they're so jovial. I'm just amazed. I'm so grateful for each and every one of them, and I'm so grateful to have Catherine on board to lead the crew through this time. So I just can't say enough about what we do, and I can't say thank you enough to all of you for tuning in and for donating. And again, as I said, it's not, we don't just need your money. We need your volunteer hours. We need you to encourage other people to get to know us. So you could do that with your social media. You can do it by emailing some friends. Whatever that you can do to help give. Again, you don't have to be a perfect volunteer. You don't have to be perfect at anything. We don't ask our parents to be perfect. We just need you to be good enough. We just need our parents to be good enough. Every day is a battle, and today I was a good enough parent, and that's okay. And so that's also, again, what we say to all of you. Thank you for everything you do, and appreciate you being here.
We do. Okay, let's check that total one last time.
Okay.
We're going to add in that $5,000 match that came in. So Jeffrey Thompson, thank you for your pledge. Oh, there's my mama showing up. Hi, Dee Edmonds. Thank you for your $512 pledge. I love that.
We hit it.
I love it. We hit our match. We're up to $37,679. Andrew Skogren.
Hi, Andy. Thank you.
There you go. $80 donation to Family Advocates. Look at that, 72 donors donating just tonight.
You.
I have a feeling, Kat, that we could double this easily as people start sharing our message.
Yes.
And you know what? You can tell people to watch the video portion, and you could skip the Kat and me portion if you don't want to see us again. We're fine with it. Really, no big deal. Yeah.
It's okay. No problem.
Kat's fine with it, but if you want, no, I'm kidding. But we really do appreciate all of you joining us this evening for our Bridging the Gap virtual event. Again, we're going to post this. We're going to keep this out there on social media. You can keep donating to Family Advocates. If you're not comfortable with the text to donate, you can go straight to our website and donate there. Talk about Champions for Children one last time in case people want to know what that is.
Again, just a reminder, Champions for Children is a group of donors who make a 2-year commitment to donate at least $1,000 every year. So you can do it monthly, you can do it quarterly, you can do it daily if you would like. However you would like to do it, we will make it work for you. So we're always looking for more champions. So
we need a lot of champions.
Yes.
We need a lot of champions. Well, on behalf of everyone at Family Advocates, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And again, if you want to join our Champions for Children, you can just go to the website, familyadvocates.org, and sign up there to make that commitment. We thank you if you've already done that this evening. And please consider sharing what you've learned this evening, some of the videos here that your maybe mind is blown that we don't get state funding for this, and yet children are falling through the cracks. So whatever it is that's touched your heart tonight, maybe you know somebody who'd make a great volunteer for us, please consider sharing this post on your social media, bridging the gap with others in your life. We need the help, as Kat has said, spreading the word for Family Advocates.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy.